Hi, I'm Michael Bean, and this is your lesson for myfreeactingclass.com for Tuesday, October the 27th, 2020. Today is our story day, and so we're going to be looking at a short script that is particularly challenging. We're going to be looking at it in a couple of different ways because there's some very odd physicality written into it. And also because in last week's story session, I heard that accessing emotion was a thing that was particularly interesting to people. So I have pulled a couple of scripts that involve accessing emotion that are in different styles, are of really different kinds, and I'm going to be showing those off. So today we're going to be looking at a very short script for a young actor. And thankfully we have a young actor here who I can tap to be our brave volunteer. The project was called The Bridge. And so let's start by looking at that script. So let's see. Let me just open it up. And Caden, I'm going to ask you to be Marcel. And Candy, you're going to be Sandy, who I believe is like a very large, thuggish criminal. So that'll be a fun read. So here we go. Exterior Aaron's house, day. An ecstatic woman, 70s, wheels the pink flat screen away. Sandy leans back with a sense of all rightness, $20 in his hand. A 12-year-old boy, Marcel, approaches the table. You're going to have to unmute yourself, Caden.
You wanted Marcel? I'm here.
No, it's I am he.
I'm he.
I believe you got something that don't belong to you.
I thought the bridge fair square.
Fair and square is a saying. It's kind of an old-fashioned saying. It might just not be something you're familiar with. So it's I bought the bridge fair and square. Say it again, Caden.
Bought the bridge fair and square.
And you're gonna sell it fair and square.
Oh yeah.
Sandy rises threateningly. Moments later, Marcel hangs by his ankles, squealing in terror. Can I have a squeal of terror, Caden?
I'm not touching you. Just letting gravity do its part.
He shakes Marcel. So it's funny. It's got a really good arc in it for this character, Marcel. These are the kinds of small parts that local actors get their start with. They use to build their resume. Marcel has something really fun to do, both in the audition and on set, but probably only appears for these 1, 2, 3 lines. So this is what would, under the Union of BC Performers rules, be called an actor role, in that it is 6 lines or less than 6 lines. That probably they're going to shoot it in a single day on set, and you're going to need to be dangled by the ankles, and squeal. So super fun. Now, if we are looking at the story questions, which is where I've been starting with this, then the first thing that's on that list is style. Right, so these are our story questions: style, writer story, my story, arc, descriptive words, script, relationship, personalization, objective. These are the 10 questions that I like for simplicity's sake. Last week, several times we talked about Ivana Chubbuck's The Power of the Actor. And we could definitely apply her list to this, even something that's a comedy with strong feeling. I've got the first 2 scripts with strong feeling that we're going to look at are both comedies, because I think that maybe it makes it a little bit easier to talk about or to access if we are talking about something that is silly, right? So you're finding real feeling, but you're putting it into a project that is silly. So style, the easiest place to go for style is to IMDb. Now, I don't have the breakdown for this project anymore because it was quite some time ago, but you could see that it was called The Bridge. So I went to IMDb and I looked up The Bridge, and let me show you what I got. All right, I got 2 immediate title matches. Okay, those 2 title matches. The first one is this, The Bridge. 2 detectives work together to take down a serial killer operating on both sides of the Texas-Chihuahua border. A crime, drama, mystery. A comedy where a criminal is shaking a 12-year-old by the ankles to get his board game back. Maybe. Maybe it's a moment of levity in an otherwise deeply serious show. These are the only 2 matches for The Bridge. Now, if you were actually auditioning for The Bridge, this TV show, and let's say you're auditioning for the first season, this is just something that hasn't come up yet, but it's based on a previous series, which is a Swedish series. So if you really wanted to know, you could look at this, go, well, maybe it is this one. Maybe it's based on this one, and this will give me a sense of the style. So why don't I pull it up and watch the trailer here? And so I would say, based on that little piece of watching footage there, definitely not the same project. Okay, so in that case, we're stuck with the script in terms of determining style. And so we're somewhere in the realm of, for style, we're somewhere in the realm of comedy. And so that means, but I don't think that we're in pure comedy, right? Like, I don't think we're in zero consequences comedy. I think that if Sandy drops Marcel on his head, right? Sandy rises threateningly. He's squealing in terror. These are the kind of things that typically you wouldn't see in like a pure comedy or Disney script. Squealing in terror, not the kind of thing I've ever seen in a Disney or Nickelodeon script. And so those are just those kind of little clues that you use to go, oh, okay, like I think I have a sense of the style, the story. Now what I want to look at, and we could go through those 10 questions, and maybe it's best to start by sort of going through them quickly. So if the style is comedy and the writer's story is, the hardened criminal shaking down a little kid for a board game, and my story, if I'm playing Marcel, is that like I totally scored, like best garage sale find ever, like yeah, like I'm amazing, and so I'm just so full of myself here, and this is where I'm humbled and humiliated. Or if my story is that some weird dude is getting really intense about a board game, the uh, and so my story is like more about stranger danger. I'm like, what? Like, what's your problem? No, I'm terrified by you. Maybe the change. You're really clear in the scene. The character starts as arrogant and he ends squealing in terror. Descriptive words: me, arrogant, confident, cocky. Descriptive words: other. I think anything that makes Sandy more threatening. Right? So we've got Sandy rises threateningly written in the script. We've got squealing in terror written in the script. So anything that makes Sandy more threatening potentially makes the script more interesting and makes the arc bigger. So for Sandy, I would say descriptive words are like large, uh, ugly, burly, hard, scary, mean. Right. The more we make him like a tough, scary looking dude, to you, the more there is to like push back against at the beginning, and the more you're in the payoff. Personalization. What's in your personal life that helps you empathize with the feelings behind the experience? And for comedy, I think you do need to go sort of full terror on this one. Uh, with the understanding that you're not going to be scarred as a person. So that idea in comedy is, once you're in comedy, there are less consequences. So terror, yes. And as an audience, we need to, in order for us to be able to laugh at your terror, first, it has to be about something stupid, which it is. It's about a board game. It's like, give me a board game piece. And you're like, never. Uh, and also, we have to trust that if you're playing the kid, that you're not going to need therapy for life after this experience. Because if you are in that position, then it's very hard for us to laugh at you. We're like, wow, God, that poor kid is just going to be traumatized. What does your character want? To maybe your character wants to like rub it in his face, right? That's the thing that's going to make this the most challenging. Objective phrase. The so of like, what is this? Like, I'm amazing and you're not. Or like, you're never going to get it. Or like, sucks to be you. Or something that like really taunting, really arrogant, really playing with that objective phrase. So then, if we go back to looking at the script. One of the things that I haven't been over in a while, and it's really straightforward, but there's 1,000 permutations of it, is when you get physical behavior, you start by doing exactly what it says in the script. So if we use Caden as our example, what it says exactly in the script, is that if I was pull it up in front of me, it says Marcel hangs by his ankles, squealing in terror. So Caden, you ready to be an example for me? You're going to need to unmute yourself and stand up. Okay. So, right, you walk up. You say your first line is, "You wanted Marcel." Right, and so you walk in from the corner. You put your hands on your hips. You say, "You wanted Marcel." Make sure that I can see you. Probably being on the stairs is a bad choice. I know it's fun for Caden, but it's going to be super distracting if we're watching a tape. So you walk up to the camera, go. Look at me. You say, "You wanted Marcel."
Wanted Marcel.
Good. And then it ends with you dangling by your ankles and squealing in terror. So just for reference, and remember, this progression is do exactly what it says. Okay. Then try keeping it out of frame. Then alter it to be something that's going to work. So just for reference, lay on the floor and put your ankles in the air. So that we can just see your ankles and then squeal. Stick your legs up. Go. Just no, don't worry about it. Don't move the camera. We don't have that much time, Caden. Just stick your legs in the air. It's just to be silly. And then squeal. To say, ah! Right? Doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. We can like barely see his legs. Like I saw the corner of one sock. Okay, so you've done exactly what it said in the script. Doesn't work. And clearly, because there's another person involved dangling Caden by his ankles, you're not going to be able to pull that off. And so then we keep it out of frame. So Caden, you're standing there, you're Marcel, you're like, hey. So then maybe like the guy grabs you, and starts like exactly. And so you take your leg and you start, imagining that like he's pulling it up, and you squeal. So can you brace yourself on the wall beside you? Right, one wall or the other. Just can you put a hand out to that wall so you don't fall over when that leg starts to go up? Yeah, can you put the hand on the wall outside of frame? So that means below. No, outside of frame means below the frame. So you want to stay nice and close to frame. Come closer. And put the hand on the wall. But down low. Okay. That way you won't fall over. And then imagine that he grabs your other leg and pulls it up and go, ah! Good, but Caden, up towards the camera so that your face stays where I can see it. Okay, right. So he's pulling exactly. He's pulling your foot towards the camera, and I don't want to see the foot because we're keeping it entirely out of frame, right? And so he's very big and very tough, and he grabs your leg, and he goes, oh! Right. And so that's keeping it entirely out of frame, and Caden might fall over, and really like he's going to laugh, probably because it is so silly. The first 6 times that he does it, when you're practicing physical behavior like this, the first 6 times you do it, even if it's an adult, the first 6 times you're like, oh, now I've got to kiss the other person. mwah, you're gonna like, oh my god, that felt so weird. Why, this is just dumb. I don't want to do this anymore. Um, the right, doing that physical behavior, is going to feel weird, and like the second time, you're going to this feels so weird. And then eventually you're going to be like, I can just go on with the scene. And it's not a big deal. So the one of the reasons that I love watching actors Caden's age is that he cannot contain the way that it feels. But honestly, if you are approaching this as an adult, probably you got that same stuff going on inside you. You're just like this, and you got it locked down. So Caden's level of openness and vulnerability is an asset, to all of us who are watching. So thanks for being brave and being our demo, Caden. Now the next thing that we would try, Caden, is we would simply, so if you stay standing, but what if he grabs your hand? So basically we want to find something that you can do and actually tell the story that he's really scary. Because if you laugh about it, if you take that like weird feeling and you just laugh it away, then we don't believe that you're scared at all. And so you've got to relax your face. You've got to focus on like looking at the big scary guy, and what I want you to do is I want you to keep your hand down below where the camera can see it. And I want you to grab your own hand with the other hand, right? Like this, and imagine it's being pulled towards camera. Okay, but you have to keep it all down below the camera, and it's just about resistance. It's not about moving towards camera. So what you're going to do is in that spot in the scene, you're going to grab your own wrist and go, like he's good. And remember, Caden, you must not move that much. So it's just a pull, and you resisting the pull. No, it's down below where the camera can see, not up, not to the side, down, exactly right there. And so just pull, but don't move. Don't move your body, just pull. Just pull. Just pull. Right, so you're pulling with one hand and pushing with the other. Exactly, yeah. And then make sound, go, ah!
Ah!
Yeah, exactly. And so it's actually kind of uncomfortable. Exactly. Right. And as long as you're not going to harm yourself, what you're doing is taking that actual discomfort and putting it into the scene. So now we'll just do like a simplified version of the scene, so fewer lines. Your first line is that you wanted Marcel.
You wanted Marcel?
Marcel is the guy's name. You wanted Marcel.
You wanted Marcel?
It's not a question. It's a statement. You say you wanted Marcel.
Wanted Marcel?
Okay, so say, I am Marcel.
I am Marcel.
Good. And put your hands on your hips like you're so super awesome. I'm saying you're going to give me give me the bridge. Like give me my board game piece. And you're just going to say no.
No.
Good. And then I'm going to grab you. And just remember, keep your hands down low, down below the bottom of where the camera can see. Like I grabbed you, and you're going, ah!
Ah!
So remember, King, the hands can't come up and they can't go off to the side, and you're not going to move your body. You're not going to move your body forward. I know you're getting really excited about that, but we want to tell the story where the camera can see. Okay. You're going to start in the corner. You're going to walk up. You're going to say, I am Marcel. Like you're so full of yourself and you just think you're the most awesome. Not on the stairs, because we don't want to be distracted by watching you climb stairs. So we're recording, stand by, and action.
I am Marcel.
Hey kid, give me the board game piece you took. You're just going to say no. Okay, do it again.
No.
Start from the beginning. Stand by and action.
I am Marcel.
Hey kid, give me the board game.
No.
Oh yeah? And grabs you?
Ah!
Good. And if we did it 6 more times, then Caden would stop smiling and he'd get it. And so you can see that him having his foot grabbed probably, ultimately, I think if I was taping this, I would probably default to the foot grab because it was funnier. Right, like if we could get the actor, to take it seriously, then like having your foot grabbed and dragged towards camera, does all sorts of weird things to your body shape, and then you just don't have to do as much work to be funny, to be in like an odd position, and so that's the kind of thing that I would recommend doing for this. And then the reason that I chose this script, is that in addition to those kind of basic pieces, how do you bring more feeling into it? It's a comedy, but the more like, and we've set it up, the conditions in a way that is going to be silly, that's where it's going to be easy for the audience to laugh at it. And then for you, how do you bring in more of that squeal of terror, right? So that instead of thinking about, is this the right kind of squeal? What kind of squeal do I make? You're just actually super freaked out. And so I want to run down sort of those really simple access points, right? You can use your physical body, right? You can use your memory, what I remember about the experience of terror. You can use your imagination. What can I imagine that terrifies me? Yeah, and you can use this story. You can just put yourself in the story. Okay, right, this guy grabs me, I get it. Right, those are some of the easy access points. And so with each one of those, and I don't think I'll demo with Caden because it would take us probably 10 minutes to get him through the laughing, and to like actually being able to take it seriously, which is not a critique of Caden. That's just, at his age, he's just having so much fun that getting through to the story, and putting the fun into the story is going to take time. And I don't particularly want to make you all wait for that. And so if we were using the body as an access point, then you already saw that when Caden was like uncomfortably pulling on his wrist, that did a lot of the work. As an adult, like I might actually find a vulnerable spot on my wrist, and like dig my thumb in there, just be like, ah, so that I'm causing myself, a non-harmful, but like not insignificant amount of pain. Ow. And then putting that into the line, I might do that, with this. So the terror comes from that, and I'm totally in control of it as the actor, which makes it safe. I might use my previous experience. I'm like, oh, it's like that time when, and I would personalize it, in a way that helps me understand, like, oh yeah, it's that level of terror. So it starts with like, yeah, I'm cocky and totally full of it. And the cockier I am, for the record, the more funny it is going to be to watch bad things happen to me. So again, this is one way to approach comedy, is that if you want the audience to laugh at you, if you are a terrible person, much easier for the audience to laugh when bad things happen to you. So I think that if you are Marcel in this, your job is to show up and just be such a jerk that we want to see you dangled by your ankles because you were such a jerk that you deserve it. And so we can laugh at you. Right? There's a reason why in Mean Girls, we laugh when Regina gets hit by a bus at the end. It's because she's been a terrible person the entire time. Normally, in any other circumstances, watching somebody get hit by a bus, not funny. But in this case, you're like, and then later we see her in a body cast or whatever, so we know she doesn't die. Just, Nick, Candy, you had a question.
So mine was more of a comment. The scene just reminded me of Home Alone when the kid's afraid of that neighbor and he's like, I'm not afraid anymore, and then he runs screaming. But it's like a comedy issue, but kind of the same style maybe.
Great. Yeah. And so thinking of concrete examples, because we could probably go on YouTube and find that clip and go, oh, okay, it's like that. It can be that big. There can be that much energy or that much animation, as long as we get the real swing from like, yeah, I'm totally cocky and full of myself to like, I'm full of terror. And looking for concrete examples from other projects, it's a great way to ground your work. So I think that's an excellent addition to the discussion, Candy. Thank you. Now, I'll do this tomorrow if we don't have something else come up between now and then. Tomorrow I've got a script from a comedic show called Reaper, where the character is a young woman about Candy's age who needs to cry, for like basically half the scene. But it is a very broad comedy. And so it's a really interesting challenge, where it would be easy to deviate so far into the comedy that you didn't get the crying, or so far into the like feel the pain, then we're just like, oh wow, that poor Candy is just really suffering here, it's horrible, poor her. And it was much harder to laugh at you, so I'll talk about kind of finding our way into that tomorrow, I think. All right. Thank you for making time. Artie, nice to see you. It's been a
Oh,
while.
thank you, Michael. Sorry I was late.
My pleasure. Please jump in for as much or as little of any lesson that you desire.
Oh, it's awesome. Thank
Good.
you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank
Michael. Thank
you.
you. Have a nice day.
Thanks.